I am here at the Fort Worth build. Been a little while since I've done an update on this one. I'll walk some of the outside. Spring's here, it's been raining and the grass is growing high now, so I probably won't walk around the front. I think we've seen that in previous videos, but we're putting in the pool and doing some things out back. But right now I'm on the inside and we have, as you can see behind me, cabinets in place. And we are about to, well, we've got a few more cabinets to put in and then we'll be sending our painters in here to start prep on this big house and guest house and party barn. So for now, I just wanted to show a little bit about the house itself, talk about, I did a video a little while back on floor plan design and some really common things that, you know, are being done these days with floor plan design, really for a few years. But as somebody that's been in this industry a long time, the one thing I've seen is plans becoming more and more and more open concept, which I think is great. I can look back on when I got into this business in the 1994 and, you know, homes had formals and just a lot of, they were kind of cut up, kind of, you know, sometimes kitchens were actually off on their own. I built a house for myself that at the time I liked it. I had the kitchen up at the right front all by itself. Was not open concept the way we think of everything now. Now, like that floor plan design video, and I probably referenced this plan in one of those, this is the ultimate in open concept. So let me swing the camera around. So I'm standing in the kitchen area, big run of cabinets, and we'll talk about cabinets here. Another thing that has become extremely popular with more upscale homes is white oak, rift cut white oak. So rift cut is the way they cut the wood. I don't think I could explain it here. I'll maybe try to put up a video on the screen if I can find one. But they're cutting a certain section of the wood that gives it this look of grain. I would describe it as, gosh, it's very, I don't want to use the word mellow, that's not right for grain, but just kind of subtle. It's very subtle, not real heavy grain in it. The grain is generally running one direction. As you can see it is white oak, but the way they cut it gives it a slightly different look. It is expensive. So, you know, the trend I'm seeing is everybody first wanted white oak. That was expensive because everybody wants it. Now they want rift cut white oak, which is even more expensive. So just know if you're out shopping cabinets and you see this and you love it, it is awesome, but you're going to pay for it. So in this house, we've got, right now, doors aren't adjusted and everything, but we've got what we call full overlay cabinets here. I've done some videos on cabinetry, but this is the face frame of the cabinet. So technically speaking, everything is still overlaid, sitting on top of the face frame, but it completely covers the face frame. So the normal cabinets, old school cabinets you've seen forever, usually have about a 1/4 inch overlay. So what's happening is, as a normal, quote unquote, cabinet door closes, you still see some of that face frame of the cabinet, same way you see it in between the doors. But here you don't. There's such tight, you know, joints between everything. The overlay is so close that it resembles what we call an inset cabinet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the camera around and look down at the drawers here. So what you see is the drawer is actually just overlaying the face frame of the cabinet. But when they close, it looks almost like what we call an inset. An inset would be where the frame actually, whoops, wasn't pointing the camera. The frame actually comes out and the door slides into it and the frame's flush. So this is a very similar look to inset, but it's not inset, just a different style. These are what we call slab doors. So, you know, slab doors and drawers. You don't see any panel designs or anything like that. Obviously, these have not been finished yet, painted or stained. Generally, when you're doing a white oak, you are staining it. If you are doing a paint grade cabinet, it means you're using a wood that has very little grain, is very smooth and meant to be painted, because when you paint it, you don't want to see any kind of undulations in the wood. You want it to be very smooth. So these are meant to be stained. And obviously I'll come back and shoot videos after we do all that. But Anyways, digressing a little bit about cabinetry, but going back to this design. So behind me is where we're going to have a custom vent hood. And this great room concept is just becoming very popular. So this room is big. When I stand here, turn the camera around, back to that fireplace, I think I've measured from the back wall to that is something like 60 some odd feet, one room. So this is similar to the house we finished last summer. Laid out different, but the whole great room concept is the same. So on this one, we have a huge front door, which unfortunately is still behind the wrapper. That is an iron door. Everything in this house has kind of what's more popular these days, which is the less ornate look, square corners, things like that. So the door itself, iron door with what we call side lights and a transom, all built in. And the door itself just has kind of the thin grid lines going horizontally. So as we can kind of see with the window behind me, you just got some horizontal dividers. That's what's going on with the front door. It's all iron. So behind me though, we have the big 10-foot tall slider door with a transom window above. And so this is the Pella, I believe this is the Pella Lifestyle brand, but these are all wood. So I'm gonna go over here to a window. And as you can see here, wood frame window, this will be stained by the painters. So basically this house, and I think I've done a video on the Pella windows before, but these have an exterior is covered in, or clad is the term, in aluminum. And that's to help protect it from the elements, to help with fading, rot, all those kind of things. So you have an aluminum exterior, but the wood frames themselves, or the frames of the windows themselves, are wood. These are actually what we call jamb extensions. So we are trying to make the jamb a certain thickness here because we did what's called sheetrock returns. So as you can see, and again, let me turn the camera around. We do not have a normal wood windowsill. The entire window has a small return where the sheetrock turns back and goes to the window, and they're all square corners here. We call this type of window jamb a kerf. It's got a little slot in it so the material can go back and, basically intersect with it in a clean way. So all the doors and windows in this house are that type of return on the jamb. So even as I'm here at the big slider, it's done the same way. The front door, because it's an iron door, will have to be done a little bit differently. We'll have to have a little trim around that to finish it off. But yeah, this house is going to have tons of light coming in from the back and the front. And so this big great room concept is going to be amazing. We are close to getting one of our mantles in. This house is going to have a kind of a unique style. There's our fireplace. We've probably seen those cast stone style. This will be real limestone, but it's going to get one of those that's going to project out so far from that, and then the real stone will be put over the rest of the fireplace. And so it's going to be a neat fireplace design. We've kind of got a wine bar set up here, a very interesting cabinet design in this house is a fish tank in an office. So as you can see behind me, we are going to have, I believe that's a 300-gallon fish tank that's going to be in there. This thing has been kind of tricky to figure out how it was going to be done, so they're about to come put the fish tank in on it, and it's going to be a really neat office when that fish tank's in there and all this gets finished out. Now, because we had to wait on cabinets on this house, we did some things what we would somewhat consider out of order, which was having all the tile put in the showers and on the floors. All the long hallways in this house have tile on the floors, a limestone, actually, it's really nice. And then the painters will be coming in. We're waiting on the cabinet shop to come and finish off a couple little things, and then we will have painters in here. Trim carpenters actually need to come in and finish a few things, and then we'll clean it up and have painters get started. I just did a video on painting and interior paint and was talking about the amount of prep that they have to do. The other house I was in was half the size of this one and a simpler finish out. This house is going to have stained cabinets, different paint colors and all that, so there is a lot of prep for the painters to come in here and do. They will be caulking, sanding, all of that. This house has a smooth wall finish, which is another thing that's become really popular. So let me see if I can find a wall that's got some good light. This is called, we call it a level 5, I think, imperfect smooth. So it's not meant to be 100% perfect. There's another level above that that you can get. But for all intents and purposes, it is smooth. Looks smooth to the eye. I've mentioned this before, but the level 5 or level 6 smooth finishes are more expensive than spray texture because of the amount of handwork that's done. Basically, these things are completely floated by hand. So you get into a big house doing a lot of smooth finish and it, you know, adds some cost to it. But it is definitely the popular look. The returns on these doors, as you see here, are very popular. They are a little tricky. So if you are a builder or a homeowner out there interested in doing these types of sheetrock returns, one thing we dealt with a lot on this house is just simply different wall thicknesses. So let's say on average, we wanted these, I'm gonna go into this little powder here. We wanted roughly, I think it was a 1/2 or 3/4 inch return here, where the sheetrock turns back and goes to the window. But we have a lot of different wall thicknesses. And Pella can only make jamb extensions, basically what I showed in the other window there, where that was a very deep wall. I think that's an 8-inch wall, 8 or 10-inch wall. So they have the normal frame for the window, but then they have to add these jamb extensions so we can try to have a similar depth from the corner back to the window. If you have a house that has the same exterior walls everywhere, that's going to make that process a lot easier. But then it goes to the doors also. So you can have doors that are sitting in walls of different thicknesses. So, you know, I'm not sure if this return is exactly the same depth as that one, but what we tried to do in this house, is because of all the varying wall depths, was to make them all as consistent as we could. On that big thick back wall, we've got some thicker returns back to the jambs than we do on most of the rest of the house. So that is the one thing about doing those sheetrock returns, those kerf jambs as we call them. Actually, it was interesting with this house. These were special order doors, rift cut white oak doors, and we had to wait on the doors. So the drywall company came in and was doing their thing, but the doors weren't in yet. And technically speaking, they need those doors in to do all those returns around the doors. So it was a comeback situation where once the doors were in, the jambs could be installed, and then the drywall company was able to come in and finish everything off. So some of these things, when you hear about, let's say you are somebody asking a builder to do this type of finish out, and the builder says, well, that's going to cost some more money to do, there's reasons behind that. Oftentimes it's all the labor, all these various issues that you have to deal with as a builder to make this work and work the right way. So I'm going to walk out the slider here onto the back patio. Done some videos of this patio before. However, what wasn't there is the big pool going in behind me. So we also did finish off the screens. So what I'll do is turn the camera around. As you can see, the tracks in the columns, and then the screens are now in. We have the framers come back, put the kind of covers over the bottom, and then get those stained. And so these will all be, this whole back porch that we're in here, from there all the way over to where the main part of the house ends, will be screened. They do need to come back and put some fixed screens on the little gabled truss area there. But that is going to allow the whole back patio of the house to be completely screened off, closed off, all the way to the breezeway section of the guest house. So I'm right at the end of the main house, screen above me, and then we've got this little breezeway. This is the connection. As you can see, house ends guest house starts. So this pool is sitting right off of the guest house. And this is going to be really cool. What we've got going here is we'll be coming in and building a pool house cabana kind of setup. Going to have a single pitched roof. We're going to have a bathroom and things in it. It actually has a sunken area where the kitchen's going to be. So I look forward to coming back, shooting some videos of that. Here are, while I'm on the outside, and I was talking a minute ago about the wood Pella windows, but they're aluminum clad on the outside. So these have the dark bronze aluminum cladding on the outside, but they are wood frame that'll be stained on the inside. So as you can see, this project, when this is all done, is going to be amazing. Just a huge expansive patio, swimming pool area. It's really going to be a cool setup. We are in May right now, so we are not a year on the project yet. And things are about to start happening pretty rapidly with the painters coming in, and then countertops follow right in after that. We move on to trims, which would be electrical, lighting, and things like plumbing trims, which would be all your fixtures, your faucets, and all that. With the party barn, we are waiting on our big garage door. So we've closed it off for now. This is going to get a big garage style sectional door that will be glass. So you've seen those glass garage doors, just getting one of those. Okay, I am on the downstairs patio of the party barn. So this is the same kind of concept as a barn dominium. It is a big steel building. We've gone in and done some framing on the inside. It's not meant to be a house, but it's very similar setup where we did some wood framing on the inside to create rooms, you know, balconies, things like that. It's got the same kind of Pella windows and doors in this. And as you can see, downstairs ceiling is a tongue and groove 1x6 Western red cedar. We have the same thing on the outside balcony. Gonna walk into the party barn. So what we've got here is a small garage section in this build. It does have a garage door, and this would be for tractors, UTVs, things like that to come in and out. And we walk into the big open space. So done some other videos on this, but this is going to be a pickleball court. So yes, pickleball, the most popular sport these days for retired people. My mom asked me the other day what pickleball was, and I said, it's tennis for old people. Same thing, you just don't have to run quite as far. So I forget the dimensions of a pickleball court. We did this on another house, and I want to say the court is 20 by 40, maybe I'm getting that wrong, but we have a sports court company that will come in here at the very end. It's kind of like garage epoxy. Do it at the end when nobody's going to be here messing with everything. And they will clean all this, paint it, and we will have a full-blown pickleball court in here. So again, just a big expanse. It's a big, I think this building is 60 by 70, something like that. As I mentioned, we are waiting on our big glass garage door. So when that's in place, going to let plenty of light in here. And then I will turn this way to kind of show what's going on behind us. So this is the area, much like a barn dominium would be if we were building one of those, where still building structure, all that kind of white stuff you see is a painted closed cell foam. This one has 2 inches on the walls, 3 inches on the ceiling. And so the whole building itself is insulated. We also went in and put insulation in the floor, the ceiling part of this wood framed area. So this is all wood framed. We also have a Pella sliding door in here. As you can see here, have a kitchen area. Basically, this is called the TV room. And this opening is going to be a mini garage door. You've probably seen those in restaurants. So this will open up into the room and it'll be kind of a serving bar area. So going into the TV room, as it's called, basically has a kitchenette. Cabinets are all in. Again, they'll be back next week, finish up all the cabinets. We'll move on to painting. So there is our big opening that's going to get a mini garage door put on it to be able to be closed, but to also open up and not open into the room. So when they're playing pickleball, we don't have any injuries with opening windows. So this one doesn't have a lot of upper cabinets. It has the very popular floating shelves. And these floating shelves are actually notched, if you can see that, for low voltage under counter lighting. So this is going to be a great TV room. It was actually, even though the building is insulated, it was also insulated just to help prevent sound bleeding through and keep it a little cooler. The big part of the building, we are dumping air through there with spiral ducts, which is kind of a commercial style HVAC setup, but we have regular ducts in here like you'd see in a residential house.